Okay.
Is that going to stay in the middle like that?
I don't know.
I can't see the screen.
All right, I'll just say, welcome to New Realities. We are back with another amazing show, mostly going to be hosted by Michael Ney, but I just have to say, this is a show I'm really excited about. Healing, prayer, and mediumship with some of my really good friends here. And I'll just take it off the screen share so we can, where is the screen share? There. Okay. Thank you. I'm Alan Steinfeld and here with Michael Ney. And I just want to say hello to a few of my friends and some new friends as well. Kimberly Meredith. I owe a lot to Kimberly. My book was connected through the cosmos through Kimberly, and she's been a great asset, and she's an incredible healer and a good friend. Also, Kat Devine is a good friend. I don't know Kelley and Cheryl. Maybe you could introduce them, Michael, and Catherine is here too, just to show up. But why don't you talk about what the show's about, Michael, and I'll make you the co-host, and then we'll just continue. So go ahead. It's up to you, Michael, but good to see everybody here and everyone online.
Thank you, Alan.
Actually,
Thank you so much.
it's over the cat.
It's over to me. Well, thank you so much, Alan, for introducing us, the Four Earth Angels. We're very happy to be here. It's really about a discussion about awareness and about consciousness and about the fifth dimension and the divine, and talking to each one of our beautiful guests here, Kimberly Meredith, Kelley Eckhardt, and Cheryl Murphy, and myself, Kat Devine. And so today we're really going to talk about, who we are, what brought us together, and how we help humanity. What are we doing here, and how the shift in our universal planet has been a gift, actually, quite frankly, even through all the difficult times with COVID and some other things that are going on in our planet. We're here to raise the vibration. So I really want to invite everyone to just take a moment. And actually, I'm going to hand it over to our beautiful guest, Cheryl Murphy, if she would like to kind of bring us into a beautiful little quick meditation to get us all together in the divine light. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Kat, and thank you everyone for being here. I would like to begin really with a nice prayer, a nice centering, consciousness awareness, right? We always want to be open and be mindful. So why don't we take a moment and close our eyes and find that centeredness in our being, taking a breath in of love and gratitude, and just finding that centeredness in your heart. You can even imagine a beautiful white light in the heart space. But you want to breathe in love and gratitude for yourself, sending it back out into the world, taking beautiful deep breaths in, finding that balance, finding your own energy, your own space. As we come here together, we're going to send all of our love out to everyone on the call today and those listening to the recording. We always send out the highest divine light and the highest divine love. So breathe that in for yourself. Take a moment, one more breath in. And exhale. And so it is. And gently open your eyes. I hope that brought everyone to really feeling grounded and being here with us for this wonderful call. So Kat, back over to you.
Cheryl, thank you so much. That was exactly what I needed, that's for sure, to bring us all together in unity. And I'm so grateful that your meditations, let's start off right there and talk a little bit about you and your development, and also about your healing prayer circle, which I am absolutely so in love with. by the way. It has been, I was listening to it last night, and it just brought me to another level. And I just want, you to talk about that and about you. So thank you.
And yes, Kat, just to mention the Healing Prayer Circle, I hold a weekly prayer circle on Sunday evenings, and it's free to join. And really, it is about opening up the consciousness, opening up the awareness and the belief and the faith that we all need to have about our own soul's guidance, our own soul's journey. So we do prayer, we do a nice meditation, really coming to feel our own power. I think that's really important for all of us to feel our own spiritual power, our nature, our own love for ourselves. And that way we can absolutely share it with friends and family. But, I started with my development really as a child. I grew up with this in my family. My mother is psychic. The women are psychic in my family. It goes way back to my grandmothers. My great-great-grandmother was Native American Cherokee. And, my great aunt, just to tell you a short story, my great aunt was hired by the Air Force to find a missing pilot and plane. And she said, I'll find them for you, but just to tell you, the pilot is already gone. He's already passed away. And they went ahead and hired her. She did find the pilot. This was out in the mountains in the snowy conditions. They couldn't get there themselves. That's why they hired an intuitive to help. She found the pilot and the missing plane, and it was right. She was right on. And so we have that in our background, in our history. My mother even shares stories with me about all the women gathering during the holidays when we would all, visit each other for the holidays. The women would have seances and get together and have talks about intuition and consciousness and, what's out there and what abilities we have, what psychic nature we hold. So that's always been amazing for me. As a child, I would listen to the stories from those discussions that they would have. So that really ignited my curiosity. And then growing up, I practiced with my brother. He and I were about the same age, a couple of years apart. We practiced together with seances, right? Seances, bringing in the higher levels of consciousness, meditation. So it's always been in my life. And I just want to tell you, the spirit knows our path. I'll just say that. Our higher self knows our path. For example, I did step away from this for a while, and spirit lifted me up and put me right back in the situation. And I got the clear signal that they wanted me to do this, to be of service, to, help spread that word, to help show people, to help demonstrate in my mediumship, to help offer guidance, whether it's through healing prayer, meditation, whether it's through my psychic, my mediumship readings. So that's what I do is I do private readings with people. I hold public demonstrations to show the survival of the soul, of the personality, of the spirit. And that's what I do. And I've been doing this for over 10 years now, and I absolutely love it. And I keep growing and evolving, and especially just to tell you, these last couple of years, since we've all been going through this situation together, so much spiritual awakening has been happening. So I can't tell you how appropriate it is for all of us to come together and talk about consciousness, because so many people are waking up. So many people are waking up to their higher calling. I'll just say that. Yeah. So I find it fascinating and very interesting.
Cheryl, first of all, that's amazing. And to be able to be brought up with what you were brought up with. And for me, just on a side note, I wasn't brought up that way, so for you to be able to experience your entire life, that's incredible. So we're gonna move a little bit more and talk about each one of us and get a little bit more background, and then we're going to put out some questions there and some answers for you guys to help with everyone that's listening. Just wanted to say, like, for me, I just found out only about 2 years ago, I was adopted. I knew I was adopted, but I mean, 2 years ago, I found out my biological mother, grandmother, and aunt, what they say is they've always saw dead people and angels. And I had no idea because I was adopted. So it does run in the family. It does run in generation. It's really who we really are anyway. So the gift has always been there. I know it for yourself. And even when Kimberly has spoken as well. And so it's just interesting how you said kind of where you got off. You kind of tried to jump away from it for a bit, but it kind of just says, no, this is your path. But I think that's the 3D experience that we sort of have to feel and be able to identify the difference between the 3D reality and the 5D reality of what doesn't feel good in your life and to get you onto a new level. But I really think it's important that we did experience that 3D, especially for myself, because otherwise, we can't relate to a lot of people, right? We can't really relate to them if we are, as I like to quote, I'm going to quote James Van Praagh. He says, if you're so spiritually evolved or so spiritually out there that you're not humanly good anymore. I think I messed that up a bit, but that's kind of, being able to feel the difference of the dimensions and the consciousness that's out there. A little bit of background about myself was that I grew up on a farm, and I did not get involved with any of this, but I was always spiritual. I was always looking up in the sky, knowing like there's got to be something more out there. I've seen spirit when I was younger, and then as a child, for me, unless somebody introduced it to me, I'm thinking that's just my imagination. So for me, it was. I kind of knew, but I didn't. It was about the 3D reality that I lived in for quite some time. And then in my 20s, that's when spirit showed up full force right in my room, which we talk about in the Last Breath book, my chapter here, which if anyone can see that, the Last Breath book, which I'd like to say that Cheryl, Kelley, and I are authors in this book. It's True Stories of Mediumship from mediums around the world. And my story is just about that, of seeing spirit live right there, objectively outside of myself, and in my room filled. And that was when I was in a really traumatic type of state. I was in a 3D reality, feeling, overwhelmed, and thought that I made a decision that wasn't, good for the person that I love very much. And sure enough, spirit was there to say, everything is okay. And we're here to support you. And so that really, really, really woke me up. And, but I became a dog trainer, learning how to communicate with the 3-dimensional reality and the 5D reality, because everything is energy. Our dogs are animals that we love. And so that's kind of where spirit showed up again and said, it's time to do this. This is what you're meant to do. So that's where it leads for me. And I would love to hear from Kimberly, if we could, hear from you, and please tell us how you arrived here in helping so many amazing people with their healing journeys. So thank you for being here, Kimberly.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here. My journey is just a really interesting journey. I just wrote a book called Awakening to the Fifth Dimension, Discovering the Soul's Path to Healing. And it's really for you, because the whole book was organically channeled. And I've been a writer since I was probably 2 years old. I started writing little notes on pieces of paper and leaving them around the house, tucked under pillowcases and drawers, and little pieces of paper, writing notes to my grandma, my paternal grandmother, saying, "Don't ever die," which was weird to me. But it all makes a lot of sense. I'm a lot kind of like Cheryl, actually, because my family, on my maternal side, my great-grandmother was a very well-known healer and psychic in Italy. And on my paternal side, my cousin was a very, very amazing writer. And I didn't really know a lot of this at all as a kid. But when I was around 12 years old, I had already written probably, I'd say, close to 1,200 poems. And my grandma on my paternal side would talk about Joanne Kiger, who was hanging out with Allen Ginsberg and Jack Kerouac. And she was paving the way of female writing and Buddhism, and opening up a lot of this for female writing, and sending my poetry to her. But she would always say, "Must you write so dark?" And they were trying to get custody of me because I was raised in a horrible, tumultuous childhood. And in that childhood that I was in, it was about me not blinking when I was communicating with spirit. So on both sides, I would say my paternal side was more into who I was. My maternal side, which is very interesting because they didn't want to really accept what my great grandmother did, which was the psychic abilities that they all came from Italy and went to Jamestown, New York. And my grandmother kept it a secret in her little back of the home in Jamestown, New York, which was near Lilydale. And she still did all of this healing and stuff. But my mom, I don't know if this makes sense, but my mom never got any healing abilities. And my great grandmother wanted all of her daughters to get the healing abilities. Nobody got them. Nobody got any healing abilities or psychic abilities. But lo and behold, I got them. And my mom didn't like it. And I also got to writing abilities. So they didn't really know what to do with me. And so many people that come to me in my practice now are outcast. So I'm here to help people that have abilities and want to open them up. So what happened to me is that I'm around 7 or 8 years old. I sat on the bed with my mom and my stepdad, and they slapped me across the face until I stopped blinking. And I remember that day very, 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 very clear. And then you grow up and you move on and you do other things. But I did become a nurse assistant and always was in service work and always was connecting to the angels and to the guides and to spirit, and always had an amazing relationship with my paternal grandmother, who knew what I was doing, because I would rub my hands and rub them on her chest. She suffered from chronic asthma. She lived in Ohio and Iowa, and she moved to Long Beach to be near the ocean. So moving on, God, spirit, like Cheryl, or we all move things away or push them away. Through the many years of working in many hospitals with what I would do, I always would connect to the guides to help heal people, and became a medical assistant and a medical director on many shows, and went into acting, became a successful actress, actually. One day, I got hit by a car. And after I got hit by the car, I had a full-blown near-death experience. And after the near-death experience, this was not an easy recovery. In the recovery, I had experienced the Holy Spirit. And in the Holy Spirit, energy coming through my body, it was so profound, going through my eyes, through my body, through the energy. I could hear, "You're to stay here. You're to do your healings on people. You're to stay." It took me about, I'd say, 3 months to get my speech back. It took me a year to start walking. Still, after the year, I was in a wheelchair. I still couldn't go to airports or walk. And spirit started communicating with me through my eyes. They started blinking. And when my eyes started blinking, I said, this is the way they did when I was a baby. They blinked. And then I said to my friend, my girlfriend, who is a Reiki practitioner, I said, how could this be? How could my eyes start blinking again when I was little? And she said, it's because you're supposed to be communicating with who you're really supposed to be.
Kimberly,
then
that's so touching.
And then it all started happening. I started becoming a full-blown trance channeler. And I didn't know they wanted me to do what I'm doing now, which is I do speak to the crossovers, which is speaking to mediumship readings with loved ones, but they like me to focus on medical readings to save lives and also healing people and communicating to people about opening up your gifts of who you really are. And then I channeled my book called Awakening to the Fifth Dimension.
Thank you. Kimberly, please, let's talk about your book real quick. I'd love to hear a little bit about that.
So this book originally was a full-blown book about my near-death experience. But then I decided to put in information about the journey of being called to go to organizations that I went to. The guides, I only do what the guides tell me to do. So when I was called to go to these places, the guides said yes. So I went. So it has information about the testing they did. And most of the testing they did was about water and food, and also about laying hands on people and dissolving energy off the body, like tumors, and readjusting organs, and how that can happen and heal people through the body energy, just like what was going on many years ago. It is happening now, and you can be healed really fast when you go in this dimension, which is called the fifth dimension and beyond. And we have a choice to do that if we want. So it talks about that in the last few chapters of the book. And this is not something that I created. This is something that's been going on since the beginning of time, and it's easy for you to do. And also the book is broken up into also a chapter of vitamins and supplements and nutrition, and it's an easy read. So I hope that, and it's an audiobook. So if you don't like to read, you can listen to it. And it also is in Kindle. So it's Awakening to the Fifth Dimension, Discovering Your Soul's Path to Healing.
I think we all could use that book, Kimberly. So thank you so much. And now we're moving. Thank you. Kelley, I'd love to hear from you and your journey and how you became the medium that you are. I'm sure, again, since it's multi-generational, probably runs in your family as well, correct?
Yes, it does. And well, I always like to start my story. It's a little bit strange, and I know we're all a bit strange, right? Um, so I always say mine started before I was ever born. One of my first memories as a child when I was born was my past life of how I died. I was killed, and I was immediately in spirit watching my mother give birth to a brother that she put up for adoption 13 years before I was born. And I know that I was in the spirit world watching and observing my family for 13 years before I finally was born. And I was 3 miscarriages because I didn't want to be born. I was kind of scared to come back to this world. And I also, had a very interesting childhood. I like to say I grew up in the 70s in Venice Beach, where everyone had bongs, crystals, and you name it on their coffee table, and tarot cards. And my childhood, we played with the Ouija board while other families were playing Monopoly. So I did have an interesting, odd family, and grew up around a lot of interesting people whose names were like Indica and Sasha, and just, the 70s, 60s parents in Venice Beach. It was very eclectic, and I was obsessed with crystals and tarot cards as a child. So definitely I've always had my gift. I've always seen spirit. We talked about it a lot as a family, but never really embraced it, never was really encouraged to talk too much about it. As a matter of fact, oftentimes I would tell my mom things and she would get upset with me and tell me I couldn't watch TV anymore or tell me it was my imagination. So I don't think that it was like really encouraged, even though it was talked about openly. It was a very strange upbringing. So I kind of shut it off, or I tried to shut it off, I say, as a teenager, but it didn't work. And, I grew up in a dysfunctional family with, I would say my mom was slightly mentally ill and my father was an alcoholic, and it was very abusive. So, of course, what did I do? I grew up and I did something I knew better not to do. I married an alcoholic who was slightly mentally ill. So I married my mom and dad. And I had a very chaotic time in my 20s, but spirit saved me. And they came to me in a dream. My dad had passed and my first boyfriend had passed, and they came to me in a dream and said if I didn't leave that marriage with the children right now, I was going to die. So I did. I left right then, and I started following spirit ever since. So I married my soulmate shortly after that. He's the love of my life, and we had a child. And when that child was about 4, actually sooner, about 2, he started talking about my dad. He started talking about the spirit world and all of his past lives, and it was like a deja vu moment. And I knew at that point I had to really embrace this gift and develop it. So I started developing for him really so I could help him as a child, but I fell in love and knew that this was what I was supposed to do and just threw myself into this work. So now it's been 10 years that I've been really developing and working and doing this, and it's my passion. And I would say my biggest passion right now, because I've lost my oldest son, and so my biggest passion is really to help mothers or families that are grieving, but mostly moms, but I help them all. But families that are grieving, connect with their loved ones and know that, life does go on, that we don't die, that they are connected to us still, and we can still have a relationship with our loved ones, even though they're not physically here, and that we can survive this, and that life isn't easy, but it is a beautiful thing, and it is an amazing place to be in. And I love to teach everybody how to learn to connect with their loved ones, because I believe that all of my clients can connect, and if they're open, I help them. And that's my thing right now, is really helping everybody learn how to connect. I love to teach beginners.
Thank you so much, Kelley. Well, let's talk about a little bit of, first of all, when you're saying how to connect, let's talk about that, right? Because, when we're connecting, first of all, we're all spirit, right?
Yes.
In these human bodies, but most of the people don't really know that. They'd rather live just here in this very, in a box almost. Like they are, like you had mentioned before, like they're afraid, right, to look outside of that box as a comfort zone. And so when we're talking about consciousness and, connecting, what are we connecting to? So I'll leave you with that question.
So let me make sure I understood what you said when you talk about consciousness and connecting. What are we connecting to? To me, we are all connected no matter what. So really we're connecting to spirit, to the universe, to ourselves. It's just such an amazing, I don't even know that it can be put into words in my belief, but I'm sure somebody can put it into words better than I can. But that's what it is to me. I just imagine it's just this one big thing that we're all connecting to. I do think that if people can get past themselves and have, just complete trust that they can let go, that they can connect with their loved ones, they can connect with the universe, they can connect with their higher self. All of this guidance really can save our lives. It has saved my life many a times. As a child, I completely trusted and, I was totally open, because children are, right? But even as an adult, I have to say that I've been saved, and I completely trust and follow that guidance even when it doesn't make sense and people think I'm crazy. But I don't care what anybody thinks, because I know, and that's all that matters.
Yes. Well, I don't think we're crazy. I absolutely don't. I think the other people are crazy for not kind of opening up their hearts and their minds and their awareness. But it's interesting because I want to talk about the dimensions. And for me, I remember when I was probably in my 20s, maybe even earlier than that, but I would feel when I was in that like lucid dream state, I would hear music and I would hear talking, and I was kind of like stuck in between these, and it was like this veil right between us, and it was like, and I was trying to talk to them saying, I hear you. Like, I know you're there. There's something, it doesn't even make sense. It's like a wall right there, but I know that there's something more that most of the people can't see. And so that's where I can really feel and remember about the dimensions and the difference between that. Maybe Cheryl could, elaborate on her behalf about dimensions and the reality of the 3D versus the 5D. And then I'd like to ask Kimberly that as well, because I know that that's really where we are, right? In the 5th dimension now.
Yes, we are there. And a lot of people go back and forth, but the 5th dimension, it's more about new thought. It's more about creating and manifesting our lives. The old thought process, for example, was no pain, no gain, right? Or work is hard, I have to work hard. But now the 5th dimension, it's about, look, I am a spiritual being and I am manifesting with every thought, feeling, and belief I have. And I am a healer. And really, I am quite an enlightened being, and tapping into that or reminding ourselves really can bring in more love and joy into our life. And one way to connect to that intuition or to connect to that higher self is to learn what your own energy feels like. And that is through trusting that gut, trusting your gut instinct, listening to that first voice, right? Listening to the first voice before that doubtful voice comes in. When you start listening to that inner voice, that first voice will just say that thought, that feeling, that hunch, even, it can be a feeling. You enjoy it, you thrive in it, you have faith and trust, and you find yourself stepping more into it. I know that when I'm doing my healing work, or when I'm with other people and we're all working on healing, my energy will open up. My auric field, which is my energy field, around me is my energy field. And I open up with divine love, and it expands. And I can actually hear other planes, like other dimensions, communicating and connecting, and really feeling supported and loved, that they want to help. I've always felt a positivity with opening up to divine love and connecting with spirit guides and angels. It's always been a positive experience. So for anyone that has anxiety, that feels anxious, even whether it's around a job or a relationship, or just anxiety around opening up their own intuition, I would say take a class, right? Take a class, but what'll happen is you'll start to trust your higher self. You'll start to trust that intuition. And that anxiety could be the spirit world kind of knocking at your door, so to speak, and you're feeling the new higher energies coming in, and that's just what it feels like temporarily. But once you acknowledge that maybe you have a guide wanting to get your attention, your life will really open up. Your awareness opens up. Your dreams can open up for you. And then you find that you are a co-creator of this universe. So that's really the 5th dimension, is helping people realize we are co-creators, right? So let's put the good thoughts out there, right? Thoughts become things. So beliefs become things, right? Everything is energy. And as the saying goes, energy can't be destroyed. It can only be transformed, right? And when we elevate our love and we ask for the highest good, and we step on this path of helping each other and being of service, then we step into what it takes to be a really good manifester to really bring wealth of family, friends, health, financial flow, opportunities into our lives. So that's to me, that's a wonderful place to be. So that's really helping people understand that fifth dimension, it's all about being a co-creator, stepping into your own power.
I agree, absolutely. And for me to do so, and for anyone else there who doesn't know how to do that, I'd start with your heart. So focusing on your heart, it's for me, it's the portal to the field of infinite possibilities. And where in that field is our extraterrestrials. Let's go there. And then we have, right, our angels, our beings of light, and the you name it, right? That's where everything exists. And that comes through, for me, the heart. I don't know about you, but I'd like to ask Kimberly how she feels about the fifth dimension, right? Because I think that she's in it at all times as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I wrote the whole book about the fifth dimension. I also wrote the book about understanding what the third dimension is in detail, because we live in a third dimensional world that's shifting into the fifth dimension pretty quickly right now. And when we see all this ugliness and stuff that's happening, it is a reality. But because when we look at it right now and it looks so harsh and hard, it's because we are in the Aquarian age and we are in an ascension, and it's so much more in our face because of we are shifting into the fifth dimension right now. And because it's always been hard, it's always been not easy, but now because we are moving fast into the enlightenment period, it looks harder for us, but it's easier now to awaken. And because we are awakening more quickly, this is going to be easier for us to understand. So when you get into the zone of being in the fifth dimension, healing is easier and faster. Awakening your gifts is easier and faster. And your lifestyle of living more organically, and it's a new way of understanding that not only your friendships and your ability to move in and out of situations. So like if you get in an argument with somebody, or your friendships that maybe were third dimensional can shift so you don't stay upset. So let me give you an example. If you have a friend that's a third dimensional, living in a third dimensional reality, and you're more moving into a fifth dimensional reality, and so you feel sort of like a glitch is going on, you're more apt to be not judgmental of them. So being in the fifth dimension is non-judgmental. It's loving freely. It's moving into the most highest, holy, loving existence. When you're in that dimension, things don't matter because you're so high in this frequency, nothing stops you. You are fearless. You're fearless, you're abundant, and you just keep moving forward. So it's magical, it's amazing, and it's true bliss. So when you're in 3D, it's a pull, it's dragging you down. So I wrote in this one chapter in my book, love is simple and beautiful and mystical and healing when you're in the fifth dimension. When you're in the third dimension, your food doesn't have any oxygen in it. When you're in the fifth dimension, your food is oxygenated. It's healthy. So I'm just giving you an example for the food even. Your living space would be healthier. So food is fifth dimensional. The world has to move in that fifth dimensional space. So everything has to be in the alignment of the 5D, not just your spiritual relationships. Everything moves in that space and content. Because we're multidimensional beings, we have a choice to go in which dimension we want to be in. So can we bounce around in different dimensions? Absolutely. And so when we're in the fifth dimension, we feel safe, we feel respected, we are in the omnipresent energy, we feel strong, we feel the God connection, we feel loved. So this is sort of this high vibration. So can somebody be healed instantly when they're in the fifth dimension? Absolutely. Doesn't mean they're bad if they're not. No, you're never bad. No. Is it easy to get in the fifth dimension? Yes. Does it take practice? Yes. Nothing, it takes meditation. So in my book that I wrote, there are practices of meditation. I'd say 5 minutes a day of meditating, of learning how to get into that awakening.
Thank you. Yes, I absolutely agree again with meditation, because that's where we raise our vibration, the frequency, and the portal is there. Yes.
Yeah, I want to say one more thing. As we meditate and as we raise our vibration, and each person is doing this and moving into the fifth dimension, the 3D world can't survive. It's depopulating right now. It's going to move also. It is moving. We're in the Aquarian age. So as we are all moving in that dimensional frequency, it also is going to move also with it. So as you're seeing things happening, I don't know if you're noticing it, well, grocery stores, banks, they will have to also move. It has to.
You're right. And it's interesting because the more that you bring your awareness to that fifth dimension, or even anything outside above the third dimension, I can feel like everything's sort of darker. And everything else is lighter up above. And it's kind of like, whereas before it was maybe half and half, like very dark and then very light. It was like a 50-50 split. And now for me, it's very minimal where that 3D reality is. And it's kind of like you can really see the denseness of that and the people that are still there. And you're right, it is depopulating. And so the cup is much more, is overflowing now. It's really right there on the edge, and it's about to overflow with all of our raised consciousness, our vibration that's higher and higher. And the more that the people that are coming into this world, the new babies, they are here to bring that. They are here to bring the shift with us.
Many millennials, many children, like Cheryl was saying, the fifth dimension is a place where you're at, where healing is fast. That's how I was healed, in the fifth dimension. And so many millennials and kids, they don't care about status. They don't care about fame. We care about the planet. I care about the planet. I care about our earth. I care about climate change. In my book, there's a whole chapter about water can save your life. We're here about the shift in the next 10 years. This is more important right now, what is going on. It's not about who's better than who. It's about right now, we don't use plastic. We talk about moving our world into the highest dimensional frequency and saving lives.
Can I just do a little commercial, Kimberly, saying that Kimberly and I will be doing a book launch for Kimberly's new book, Awakening to the Fifth Dimension, at the Rama Institute in, where is it? Santa Monica, February 5th. So we'll put the information in the chat, and thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much, Alan. Yep. And so Kelley and Cheryl, I'd like to ask you both a couple of questions. We could put you both up on the screen. That'd be wonderful. Or actually the four of us, the four Earth Angels together, because I really want to, first of all, ask a few more questions about, the paranormal, maybe a little bit of that, and what you feel about that paranormal. For me, it's a little bit of a negative connotation that they've kind of put out there in the media. But I'd like to get a little bit of feedback from Kelley on that.
Yes, I would love to give my feedback. And I'm not wanting to, I don't want to offend any mediums that are out there doing this because I know a couple that I highly respect. I just personally, I'm not sure I like the tone they take with TV. I feel like a lot of it is to really, you know, get people to watch it. But to me, that I don't believe that we're experiencing hauntings or negative things from spirit because I've only experienced love from the other side. That's all I've ever experienced. But I do believe that we can pick up as sensitives, energy signatures. And what are energy signatures? Well, everything's energy. Everything, like this necklace, I've touched it, it's full of my energy, right? You can read that now. Anything that happens, if something terrible happened in a home, say somebody was murdered there, that's a pretty strong energy signature. And as a sensitive, when you walk in, you're going to pick that up and you might even see the reenactment of what happened because you're so in tune and so connected. And because you're there and you're watching this and you're seeing this and you're feeling this, you might even invite spirit to come join you and tell you more of the story. Maybe they show up to tell you, but they're not stuck and they're not haunting and they're not, tormenting the people that live there. The energy also that's left there, I also believe, interacts with our own fear. Our fear is a very strong energy, and it can have a lot of negative reactions. I know as a child, my own fear popped light bulbs. You know, things like that. And I was notorious for popping light bulbs as a child because I would constantly turn them on because I didn't understand my gift and I would see things when somebody got murdered. I would see that as a child and I was frightened. So I would turn all the lights and take the lampshades off and they would explode from my fear. So we are very powerful, the things that we can manifest with our own fear and thoughts and other things, not just positive things. We can manifest negative things if we're not careful. So to me, the TV really, it's to sell. That's my belief. I don't want to offend any mediums that see this because I respect so many of them. And I don't know everything. I only know my truth, and that's my truth. Yeah.
And Cheryl, what about you?
When I think when I was very young growing up, I saw glows in my bedroom. When I was sleeping, I would be waken up by spirit and just see beautiful golden glows of an energy that was like a family coming to check on me and they were like talking to me, communicating with me, saying, "Isn't this fun? Are you having a good time? We're just coming by to say hi to you." So that experience really stayed with me, and it happened all through my childhood. And then when I started getting into my teenage years, my young adult life, I was seeing extraterrestrials and spiritual beings on this plane and other planes. I'm very proud to say one of my very dear friends fully recognizes his extraterrestrial energy. And I do feel that we are also, so when I look at him, and just to give you an example, you can see people morph, or you see that holographic energy, or you see, different appearances, they're impressed over them. That's one way of connecting not only with different past lives, but also with different, Kimberly can understand that, definitely. So I just want to say, I've always meditated most of my life. And I want to add what Kimberly said and how important it is. So to share with you just an experience I had meditating is I was with another spiritual psychic medium, and we were meditating together and we went really high. So the movie, The Matrix, right? The first one, where Neo sees at the very end of the movie, Neo is seeing all the digits going up and down like strings or threads, right? Where it's just black and white. That's where and this was before the movie came out, by the way. So this is where I went in my meditation, and I opened my eyes to this world, and everything was just like that. It was all in digits and streams, and it's moving numbers. And I'm realizing that we assign what we see in this world. We assign depth perception. We assign colors, like the plants I was seeing out the window even, the table that we were sitting at. We assign that with our co-creation here as spiritual beings. And so there is a lot of amazing abilities that we have. And even when I've come back from doing readings for people, and when I was in Colorado a few years back when I lived there, the beautiful mountains everywhere in Colorado. So I would be coming back from working for the day doing readings, and the mountain looked completely different. It's as if there was a grid over it of another beautiful landscape over the one that you and I would see with our regular physical eyes. There was absolutely another beautiful mountain on top of that. So I do believe we're living in multi-dimensional realities. And as Eckhart Tolle mentions with New Earth, his book, A New Earth, it's as if it's a new consciousness, right? It's a new consciousness. So it's just a beautiful place to realize how powerful we are. And as you mentioned, Kat, it's so perfect. Come with an open mind and an open heart. That's really such a great place to always be there.
It's just, first of all, I just have to say very quickly that every single time one of you is speaking, I keep getting chills. And so that's my sign from spirit. They are so much with us right now. And when you're speaking, it's just, they're just amazing. So that's how they give it to me. I get the chills, and I know they're here, and they're encouraging everybody to join us into meditation, to connecting to your own soul, to raising your vibration and raising the energy of the planet. So I just wanted to put that out there. And what about concurrent lives, Kelley?
Hi, yes. I don't know if anybody else has experienced this. I don't talk about it often, but as long as I can remember, I've left my body at night. I've astro traveled to different universes, to different places, just wherever I feel like I'm going. And one place I've always gone is to this other dimension, this other world that's me, and it's like happening at the same time as this life. And so I'm living two different lives at two different times, and some are in the future and some are in the past. And I'm growing up at the same rate that I'm growing up now. So as a child, I was a child, and as an adult, when I go into these different dimensions, these different lives, I am viewing the life, I'm the same age as I am now, but I'm watching it from above, like I'm seeing it from a different perspective, but I know it's me and I'm living this. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I mean, again, like I had mentioned before, the different dimensions that I knew I was aware of at such a young age. And so, yes, of course, we astral travel. We go outside of our body every single night that we sleep, right? We're connecting to our soul. We're connecting to planets, other beings of light. And so, maybe somebody, again, when we're talking about the different beings or different planetary systems, some of them are literally, they're so close to us, and you may not even be aware of them because of the dimensions. They're in another dimension, even another Earth, right? We talk about how many multi-dimensional Earths there are, right? And so your friends, past friends, should I say, or where you raise your vibration, I feel like sometimes they're at another Earth. We've really disconnected now. We're at a new Earth. And that's what this is in the shift, is the new Earth. So thank you so much. I absolutely can resonate with all of that. And Kimberly, I wanted to ask you also, first of all, let's lighten it up. We're going to answer a few questions, but I wanted to hear, a funny story, something that really might have, shifted you in your life with something really funny, and how you help somebody. Just because for me, it's about joy and about laughter and about love, and how that changes people's lives. And I know that, healing can be very serious at times, but even the joy and how much we impress upon other people and shift their lives with, funny stories. So if you have one to share with us, I'd love to hear.
I'd love to tell a funny story. I just want to make sure that people understand that this is real. Not to go back, but this is really real. Just to honor it and the energy of source and what we're talking about, like when we lay our hand, when I lay my hands on somebody that has like a tumor or a goiter or breast lump, and when we talked about astral travel for a minute, and when I put my hands on somebody that has a lump or a tumor, and it disappears and it's gone. And I astral travel when I do this, and I find myself standing at Lourdes, and it's gone. And Alan Steinfeld has gone with me to many of these events and this expos, or even in my office. This is real. We're in the fifth dimension and beyond, and anybody can experience this healing. And they've gone to doctors and shown x-rays, and is this joyous? You bet it's joyous. You don't have to have surgery, and you've been healed through the omnipresent. Are you in the third dimension when this is happening? No, you're not in the 3D world. You're in the fifth dimension and beyond, and you are completely healed. And does this happen every day? Yes, it does. It happens every day. I work 7 days a week. I'm 2 days at my office, and the other days is through Skype. Can this happen through Skype? Absolutely. It can happen through walls. Christ is here. Christ consciousness is here right now. Amen. And the really cool thing is that I have seen 17 4-stage cancer tumors in people's bodies dissolve. So yes, this is joyous. Is this going to happen more and more? Absolutely. It happened from the beginning that we came into the world, and we fell. We went down to the third dimension because we didn't want to believe it could happen. And now we are saying, what are we doing with our lives? We need to go back to that energy. We need to go back to praising the Holy Spirit, praising the omnipresent, praising the miracles. So yes. And also, when we talk about the aliens, the extraterrestrials, are they here? Absolutely. They blink. Yes, yes, yes. Are they here to help us tap into this beautiful energy also? Absolutely. When I was 9 years old, I would sit up in Indian style, and I would stare at my bedroom door, and I would move it with my eyes. It scared the hell out of my mom, and she would scream at me. Our brain, I think we don't even use like 70% of our brain. So if we tap into our brain and we meditate, like Cheryl and I are saying, and all of us, and we use the brain and we meditate, and we do this at least just 5 minutes a day, and we get into that fifth dimensional zone, we can rock this, and we can start dissolving these. It's not really. So what I'm trying to explain to you is these energies that are getting onto your body that go into dis-ease, they're energies. Cancer is not cancer. It's a energy. It's a dis-ease. You can eliminate it out of your body. So this is a very good thing, and we're moving into this dimension very easily. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And now I'd like to move into a couple of questions that we have from our listeners to see, let me see, I think we have one question. It is from Israel. What are your thoughts on incense and mirror clearing? Would you want to go ahead and answer that, Kimberly?
On incense, what is my thoughts on incense? Or yeah. And what was the second one? Mirror?
Yes, mirror.
On a mirror?
Clearing, yes. Mm-hmm.
I don't know mirror clearing. My guides are going no on mirror.
Okay.
I don't know mirror clearing. They're going no for mirror clearing. But incense, I love incense. I love oils. I love candles. I think it's great. I have nothing against it, but there's nothing stronger than calling in the Holy Spirit. If
Yeah.
you've got your guides and you've got your angels and you're talking to them, they love you. They love when you wake up in the morning and say, "Good morning, my spirit guides. Good morning, my angels." They love when you say good night to them. I talk to my guides and my angels all day long, and they love it. They just love it. They love when you talk, 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 talk. And it's just, they just love you and they protect you. So yes, I think incense are great. I think, saging is wonderful, but they're just nothing more wonderful than talking to your guides and your angels. That's how I feel. I don't know what the rest of the girls feel, but thank you.
Yes, Kelley.
Hi. So I personally love saging or Palo Santo or any of that. And to me, it's more of setting intentions while doing it, and the sense, the smell, right? The smell from, the incense or the sage or any of that. To me, it almost takes me to like my own meditation, just like certain tones or certain sounds can put me into an altered state. So for me, that's what it does for me. I think that for each person, it's different, and whatever you believe or choose to use it for is how it's going to be for you. And as far as mirror clearing, I know that there's a lot of fear about mirrors, especially within the mediumship world, which I don't quite understand myself. I know I've worked with other mediums who won't work in a room when there's a mirror on the wall. And I don't quite understand that because there is no fear from the spirit world. The only negativity that we have to worry about is, I feel, is from the human world, right? And for anything that we create in our mind. So I don't think we need to clear a mirror. I mean, you might want to clean it with some Windex, but I mean, that's just me personally. I mean, I don't know. I've never experienced negativity from a mirror.
Let me jump in and clarify. That's very interesting about the mirror. And I guess it's in my accent or something, because we're talking about frankincense and myrrh, if that makes more sense. Like, so here's our funny story right here. Here's our funny story.
Going, no. They didn't like that. They're going, no. That was not a right question. Yeah, that wasn't.
That was my mispronunciation.
It was your accent. Yes, it was your accent. I'm like, mirror? I don't know. So I think any kind of sense that brings your awareness and your energy up is a good sense. And it doesn't have to be one particular one. I feel like there's so many for a reason, because we're all unique, we're all different. And what somebody else might love and might raise their vibration might not raise your vibration. You need something different. So we have to find what we resonate with.
I absolutely agree with that. Also, it's like colors or music tones. So whatever you're drawn to at the moment is really, and again, absolutely, it's about intention. So, you can take these tools with you, if you travel or if you're at home, and use these tools. However, if you don't have any, you just use your intention. And it's just like you said, just like Kimberly said, just ask. Your guides and angels are there. They're your tools. They are your support system. They are your guides for a reason. They've been with you forever, and they're here to help and assist you. So you don't need those extra tools, but certainly they are. It's like putting on jewelry though, right? We like those accessories. They help amplify, but we don't necessarily need them. I have another question. And so let's ask Cheryl. This is coming from Mariana. What are your thoughts on Mother Sophia and the archangels?
Thank you, Kat. I'm not sure who Mother Sophia is, but I am very connected with archangels, and I work with them on a daily basis, and specifically on Sundays when I hold my healing prayer circles. So archangels, there are several, but archangels, as they say, Archangel Michael, for example, is the right hand of God, as they say. There's nothing more powerful to ask your archangels to step in. And it's about removing obstacles, opening up opportunities. It's about befriending the spirit world, befriending these angels. And we all get new angels and guides all the time. You know, if you're starting a new career path or a new hobby, or you're having problems around a relationship, you could actually be asking your angels to step in and help you. And it could be a new angel at that time. So be open about that. And setting that intention is so important. So if you have oils and crystals and a garment or a color or music that you're attracted to, the fifth dimension is all about freedom, right? It's about the freedom to go with the flow, to go where your heart takes you, to listen to the heart and move more. So I think archangels are on this planet right now at this very, historical time in our world. And I do think they're helping to support us and helping us to move forward. Anytime I do my meditations, I just want to say, look, I always ask before I sit down to meditate, I ask for an angel to step in. I ask for a message. And so I really invite you to try that on your next meditation. For anyone, sit down before you start meditation, ask that you're willing to connect to a guide or an angel. And then when you sit in meditation, you want to be in receiving mode. You want to be just open and receive. And really, that is something we all need to practice on, receiving. So that's my reminder to all of you. Remember to embrace and receive the divine love that's out there for you. Yeah.
And thank you. And you've seen angels. You've absolutely seen them. You've been brought up with them and know that for a fact. I had one experience in that, I wasn't really connected necessarily to the angels as much as more my guides until I was with my, I'm very connected to animals and my dogs here. And one evening, as I was petting her, I saw an angel, and I can't recall the angel's name at the moment, but she was connected to pets. And I was like, oh my God, I finally saw one, because they're a different vibration, and it's just incredible. Finally, that I was able to experience, but not everyone gets to experience angels. And I feel that's very special, actually. And I know, Kimberly, you've seen angels. You work with them every day, right?
I do. Thank you. Yes, I love working with my angels. They're my guides. And I speak an angel language. So sometimes they come in and I start speaking really fast and fluttering sounds. And especially when I'm out in public doing the live events, they'll start happening. And I sign language. So I never signed before. I had my 2 NDEs. And that started happening after the NDEs. And sometimes I'll start doing these weird kind of like flapping on my signing and going sort of like that talking. And they communicate like that. And especially if I have clients come in that are also deaf or drowned, and I will start signing with them, and the angelic realm will want to communicate that way through me to them. So it's very interesting. And I love being connected to the angelic realm, because the angels to me, because I've always been so connected to the Virgin Mary my whole life, are the messengers to the Holy Spirit, the angels. And I just love it. I love it so much. I love it. And if I go to like a synagogue or a church, or I'm out at the park, I see them and I feel them. And even when I was a little girl, I could see orbs, and I'm very visual with this, and I see them also. So this is just something that I love. And I feel everyone can open themselves up to experiencing them this way. And that's why I love working with the 4 Earth Angels.
We're just going to talk about the 4 Earth Angels, how we came together, right? Synchronicity. Kelley, why don't you share how we came together?
I manifested you all. I'm just kidding. That's my story. So I was on, my social media, and Kimberly had liked some of my things, and I got all excited, and I was like, oh, I like her, and I followed her, and she followed me. And Kat, you and I were part of a book along with Cheryl and Allison, and that's how I got to know you when I was following you on social media. And Cheryl and I were doing Facebook Lives, and I was telling Cheryl, I really like Kimberly. I think I'm going to ask her to work with me, but I'm scared. And she was like, just do it. And I said, well, I'm working on the year of I'm just going to do things. I even asked Thomas John to do an event with me, and he did. And I was getting ready to work up the nerve to ask Kimberly. And we were all on Clubhouse, and Kat showed up on Clubhouse, and we invited her to hang out with us and do readings, and we got along great. And Kat said, well, hey, do you guys want to do something with my friend Kimberly? And I was like, well, yeah. And so to me, I feel like I put it out to the universe, and the universe is like, okay, Kelley, you said it. We're going to bring you all together. And you were part of that happening, Kat. So thank you.
Well, I knew it. I guess it was almost 4 or 5 years ago now, maybe almost into 5 years, when I was drawn to, which is crazy because I don't usually listen to radio shows, and I was drawn to Kimberly's radio show. And I don't know how that came up. And obviously I do, it's spirit, but, and I said, I'm going to be working with her. I just knew it. It was 100% knowing. And I reached out to her, and it took a little bit of time, but we ended up coming together. I just know it. I just know we have so many, synchronicities, that happened definitely in my life. I could name like 10 of them off of what I put out there. And, maybe I'm not as fast a manifester as you are, Kelley, but I know it's going to happen. So anyway, I do want to put up, if we have our next event is going to be on, let me just see if we have that flyer. Give me one moment.
Our events are just a huge blessing. They're just so
maybe you
sweet.
can talk about that for a moment, and I'll see if I can pull it up.
Yeah, Cheryl and I can talk about it. They're just really a blessing. I always am excited to join the four of us together, and I always feel just a huge amount of chills and from the angels, the guides, and we always get such beautiful feedback, and everybody's in such beautiful harmony, and we heal people, we give beautiful messages to people, and we've done about 6 of them now. This will be our 6th one coming up. Yeah. This feels really good and sweet and lovely, and I'm just so honored.
And
Kat,
if I
I'm going
could,
to post. Oh,
sorry, Kel. If
That's
I
okay.
could just tell everyone, it's going to be on March 18th. And that's our event. It's called the Four Earth Angels, where I'm working alongside these beautiful ladies here, where we're all providing you with readings and healing and prayer and meditation. And I know Kimberly Meredith is actually doing her work in these demonstrations also with her medical intuitive readings. So there's a lot to gain from joining us. We really lift that vibration. So as Kimberly mentioned, we get a lot of feedback from people who have joined us repeatedly because they love coming to these events because it really serves them. It's a good feeling place to come, and it's a lovely community. So it's March 18th. It's on Zoom. You can enjoy it from the comfort of your own home, and the tickets are really reasonably priced. And as we mentioned, the Eventbrite link is forearthangels6.eventbrite.com.
Thank you,
Kat,
Cheryl.
I sent you the flyers.
Okay. Well, I do have one more question here, though, I want to have answered that's in the chat. And the question is, do you see the rise of the divine feminine having an impact on Main Street society today, right now? Does anyone want to answer that? Cheryl?
Definitely. And Kat, I want to get your feedback on that as well. So I would be happy to answer this question about the divine female energy coming on our planet. And what's wonderful, how we can tell it's here, is there's so much creative energy on this planet right now with children, with with people who are changing jobs. Obviously there's a lot of people leaving their jobs. There are people starting new jobs. There are people starting their own jobs, right? This is the divine female, and it's about sharing compassion too. There's so much compassion in this world, right? And we do see the stuff on the news, the bad stuff, but always know that there's just as much, if not more, compassion and open heart and healing happening on this planet. So really be open to it. It is the divine female. It's all about creation. Once again, stepping into that creative, manifesting, right energy. So Kat, let me get your take on it too. What is it about you too that you feel about the divine female on our planet right now?
I do. I mean, first of all, it's about compassion, that softer side, the creative side. And there's much more of that, instead of, of thinking of always, the left brain reality of just, the materialistic type of world. It's much more compassion and creative movement. And that's the feminine side for me. And there's so much more of that now. So yes, absolutely. I think it's here and it's now, and it's excelling. And it's a very quickening is what I feel, really, really, really quickening to help move us really as fast as we can into the fifth dimension. Yep. Thank you. And I think if that was it for questions, I do want to share my screen really quickly. Let's just see if I can do so. There we go. And there it is with our the 4 Earth Angels event. For everyone, again, it's the number 4 Earth Angels 6 .eventbrite.com, and we have them monthly, except for February. We have some other events that we're doing, but for this month, and I think, wow, January is almost over. I can't even believe it. So I just wanted to say thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. And if there's anything else that you'd like to share as we come to a close, Kimberly?
I'm just super grateful for this evening. This is wonderful. Thank you so much. We're excited to see you in March, everybody.
And Kelley?
I want to thank everybody as well. I really enjoyed this tonight. I think it's the first time we got to just kind of hang out and talk and tell our stories. And I feel like I got to know each of you a little bit more. So I'm grateful for that. And thank you for everybody that's watching and all the questions. I appreciate those as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelley. And Cheryl?
Thank you, Kat. And I want to thank everyone for being here this evening. It was so lovely to really connect. And I know everyone felt the vibration raised during this event. So know that that is your heart opening up. And really just to remind you that just the words thank you can be a meditation and a prayer all their own. So every morning, it's just important to say thank you. Thank you for this day. Open your heart up with love and gratitude, and then watch your whole life change before you, right? Just have more compassion and gratitude for yourself, for others, and watch your world open up with so many more opportunities. So thank you, everyone. It's just been such a joy being here with all of you.
Thank you. And Cheryl, how can people reach you?
Through my website. So people can reach me through my website, mediumcheryl.com, or Facebook and Instagram at Medium Cheryl.
Thank you. And Kelley, how can everyone reach you?
My website, I know I'm supposed to say one word, sorry. Hello. My website, mediumkelley.com, and Kelley is spelled Kelley, but no worries if you spell it wrong. I bought all of the domains and they all go to the right one. And then on my social media, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Clubhouse, it's at Medium Kelley, Kelley.
And Kimberly, how can everyone reach you?
I can be reached easily at my website, which is my company called thehealingtrilogy.com for office sessions and Skype sessions. And to purchase my new book is thehealingtrilogy.com, and that will take you to Amazon or Barnes & Noble. So I'm really grateful, and thank you.
Thank you. And for myself, everyone can reach me at Kat, K-A-T, Divine, DIVINE.com, or katdivinepsychicmedium.com. And I guess we all are also on Instagram as well. You can find me at Align with Divine. But I'd like to ask if we could have a closing prayer from Kimberly.
Okay. I'm going to find one in my new book. Let's see what Spirit wants. I will say, I think what I'm going to do is I am the light.
Wait, I just have to say that it's pretty close to my chapter in my book that says seeing the light on page 111. So I just want to put that out there one more time for the Last Breath book. And so the light is exactly what we're here for, right? The light.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just opened it up to this. I thought, okay, here we go. So this is a channeled prayer from my book called I Am the Light. It says, when we pray with an open heart, we want to give thanks to God, acknowledge God's greatness, have faith in the omnipresent, the divine creator of the world. As we give our gratefulness to God, God will give the gratefulness to us. Have an open heart and be humble always. This is my heartfelt prayer. Dear beloved Holy One, we honor your loving presence in our lives. I thank you so much for everything in my life and all that you provide for me, for my friends and for my family, despite the burdens that lie on my shoulders in this third dimensional world, such as financial hardships, sickness, or shadowing depression. I am turning it all over to you, fully turning everything over to you, my God. I am the light. I believe in miracles and that my mind and my body and my conscious spirit can be healed, lifted by your love, by only your love, by the true abundance. I know that this can happen. I know I am fully connected to you and I will be aided by you. And my needs and others will be fulfilled when my heart is open and I am trusting you and I will be assisted by you. I know the angels are also healing me and guiding my healing. Dear Holy Spirit, I am your humble servant. I am your child. I believe in Christ, and I am so thankful, and I am faithfully yours. I know you're keeping me safe in the fifth dimension. I know I am pure grace. I am healed. I am love. I am safe. I am yours. I am the light. Namaste.
Namaste.
We love you, and we are so excited about seeing you in our next session in March.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kimberly. I also want to thank the platform here, which is New Realities with Alan Steinfeld. Thank you so very much. Also, Beyond Being Human with Michael Ney. Thank you very, very much. And also the observation deck. So if you're seeing it from there as well, virtual reality, the VR campus. So thank you so much for all coming together and for all of the wonderful comments in the chat. Thank you very much. And I just want to say hello and I love you all very much. Thank you again. And we will see you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.